Hi, thanks for being in a new video. This time I have a review, finally, of the Galaxy Buds 3 Pro. Let's get started. If you follow my content closely, you probably noticed that it took me a long time to review these headphones. I must confess that I forgot about them. I tried them, didn't like them, and left them in oblivion. I didn't realize I hadn't done the video review. I just did a quick comparison between this generation and the last generation. But once I saw them forgotten, I started to try them again, and I still have the same opinion. But let me share with you point by point the features and technical data about these headphones. To begin with, let me tell you about their price. In Mexico, it has been launched at 3,999,000 pesos. They are not cheap headphones, but they are very good sounding headphones. On the screen, you saw the reference price in other currencies just to give you an idea, but remember that the prices here are not the same as there and that the price may vary. If you find it in a promotion, it will be even more attractive. However, despite its very good sound, it has several points that I personally did not like. Even some annoy me, but let's describe them little by little, starting with the design. So this Samsung bet has completely changed its design. And yes, many claim that it looks too much like an AirPods, losing all the identity that Samsung had gained. Personally, I don't mind the change. I'm excited about the change, especially because it brings an interesting proposal, including transparency in the case. As you can see, a strip of LEDs that can also be attractive. On the front, we see an LED that will help us to know the current status of these headphones. While at the bottom, we're also going to find a button to easily relink these headphones. And that is a very good addition because previously, on the Galaxy Buds, it was quite complicated to do this action. In this case, I have the white color edition, but it is also available in a silver color edition. In fact, I liked it better than previously. Samsung handled a matte finish, which was not so shiny. In this case, they are perceived as cheaper headphones than they actually are in terms of material usage. Fortunately, the transparency gives it a nice touch, but I do think it would have been a better addition to have a matte material. By the way, they also feature USB-C and wireless charging, so you can simply place them on a wireless charging dock to recharge them. Also, the case has a weight of 46.5 grams. And let's now open the case because there's something I need to tell you about. In this case, these are extremely slippery headphones. Believe me, a lot of times when I take the headphones out, they end up falling out. You have to be very careful and take them out with patience because it really is an action that can generate some complications. And also at the time of returning the hearing aids to the case, it can become somewhat complicated since we are usually used to store the hearing aid in this way. But in this case, the hearing aids go in the opposite direction. And since they have a very right angle, we're also going to have to put them in the right direction. If it's a little bit to the left or a little bit to the right, it's not going to go in and it's probably going to end up falling back on the floor. So that's a little bit complex and something that I didn't like. In this case, Samsung, as with a lot of their recent products, has the blue color and the orange color as a hallmark. And here they took advantage of it so that also on the bottom of the earpiece, you can see this reference to know which is the left earpiece and which is the right earpiece. So that touch has not bothered me. It is something that is fine. As you can see, we are talking about headphones with a closed design. That is to say, they have an ear cushion. Obviously, in the box comes a smaller ear cushion and a larger ear cushion for you to choose the one that fits you best. In fact, through the application, you can perform a test so you know if you are using the best one or not. These earbuds weigh in at 5.4 grams each. And as you realize, they have a sensor that is quite noticeable. Although that sensor goes on the inner part of your ear, so it is not such a big deal that it is so visible. Thanks to this sensor, the content you are playing will pause when you remove any of the headphones. Although this action can also be deactivated through the application. These headphones have the IP level of resistance against water and dust. Not bad, in fact it is a very good resistance so that even if you accidentally drop them in the water, the headphones will not be damaged. And finally, if you get to lose them, there is good news because through the application, there is an option to make them sound and try to find them. But you can also find them through SmartThings, locating them on a map. And if they've been in contact with some other Galaxy devices nearby, you could try to track them more easily. And another of the hallmarks of these headphones are the blade lights, which, as you'll notice, they're going to turn on when they want to. That's not true. They turn on when you open the headphones to welcome you. And later, through the application, you can configure whether you want them to stay on when you are listening to music or not. It's simple decoration. It doesn't have any additional functionality. It's not going to sync with your music or anything like that. You just choose whether you want them on or off. Obviously, if you turn them on, they're going to consume more battery. So most of the time, it's going to be advisable to have them off. So it seems to me to be just an attention grabber. I would have liked, instead of those lights, to give us a matte design or some other things. As for the fit, obviously it's going to vary depending on the shape of each person's ear. But in my case, I've tried a lot of headphones and practically none of them have fallen off as much as these. These hearing aids, if I am simply talking a little or walking or bending down or doing any other activity, these hearing aids will fall out of my ears. I insist it does not mean that this will happen with all people, but for some strange reason this inconvenience has happened to me. That's why I don't use these headphones on a daily basis, because at some point they will fall out. I have already tested them with different ear cushions, and to have a good audio quality I need the medium ear cushions. But in order for them not to fall out so much, I require the small ear tips. But that doesn't make my experience very good. So it will be a little difficult to know if they will fit you well. You'd have to try them on, but I highly doubt they'll let you try on headphones of this style in some stores or something. So it gets to be a little tricky. Now let's talk about the controls, as these headphones integrate touch panel on the tube part, because this was the new design proposal that Samsung made for this generation. Remember that generations ago, we found a design without any additional tube. So now we have more surface to interact, and that is why now the gesture is through a pinch instead of a single touch. This change seems positive to me because in the past models, maybe when you were trying to get comfortable with the headset, you would end up tapping to trigger some action involuntarily. In this case, it's going to be much more complicated for you to have involuntary touches, although I totally understand that many people were annoyed by this change because Samsung's tubeless earbuds were very unique and didn't look that much like the vast majority of earbuds on the market today. However, despite integrating this tube design, I think that the fact of handling right angles and handling the blade lights can indeed get to give it this touch of identity that it supposedly could have lost. But now let me tell you what are the options we have in the controls of these headphones, because with a single pinch we will be able to play or pause the music. If there is an incoming call with a pinch, you can also answer it, and if you are already in a call and you want to end it, just pinch again. With 2 pinches, you go to the next song, and with 3 pinches, you go to the previous song. But not all the interaction is through pinching, as it's also going to support scrolling up or down to be able to manipulate the volume, which is very positive, although that's specifically on the back of the headset. So, if you try to do it from here in the front, you're going to notice that it's not going to change the volume, but from the back it does work. So you're probably going to end up doing it with your thumb. And the truth is that once you get used to it, it's very comfortable. It's something I liked because in the last generation you could change the volume, but it was a little bit more difficult. You had to resort to sacrificing some other control or the experimental feature of tapping your ear a little bit, which was sometimes accidentally activated if you were eating very hard food. So I think the controls have indeed been optimized, taking advantage of this design change. In that sense, I did like the experience. There is also another control by simply pinching and holding for a few seconds, which by default will have the noise control to activate noise cancellation or to switch to ambient mode or transparency mode, so you can hear what's going on around you. This gesture can also be used to reject an incoming call, and through the mobile application you can configure this gesture to call Bixby, Also, to activate the interpreter mode, although this interpreter mode will work exclusively in conjunction with Galaxy phones of recent ranges that have Galaxy AI so that you can start the translation in real time. It also allows you to enable white noise through Samsung Health, directly access whatever you were playing on Spotify, or also to turn on or off the lights. However, this gesture is only going to work when you have the headphones in your hand, not placed on your ear, and they obviously need to be out of the case. So, just keep pinching on the two earbuds and they will end up turning on their light, and you can have a more futuristic look with your earbuds and lights activated. It must be said that these headphones also incorporate voice control, although it is only available in English and Korean. Possibly later they will receive some update to improve or something like that. But if your cell phone is in another language, this setting will not appear. Interestingly, if you set the phone to English, this setting appears. Even if you return the phone to another language, that could be a bug, but these controls are available there. They would also serve you to play or pause your content, go to the next song, to the previous song, control the volume, or even answer or end calls. It seems like a good thing to me simply to offer you things that other headphones don't offer you and to show that they are high-end headphones. However, I don't think it's that practical to be using voice commands when you can just pinch and pinch. But I suppose if you're working on some manual activity and suddenly want to take advantage of this feature, it could be quite useful. And by the way, in the case of the hold down gesture, which by default is the noise control, if you can set a separate control on the right earpiece and another control on the left earpiece. So I think the variety of controls is good, although I wish Samsung would allow us a higher level of customization, because single pinch or two pinch or three pinch is not customizable. And that's kind of strange because Samsung usually gives the user a lot of choice, but in this case they were a little more closed-minded that they could update it anyway and add to it, but I don't know if they are going to do that action. Now let me tell you about the sound quality. This really is spectacular. Just as I complained about them falling off and not having a good fit, you should know that the sound quality is really very good. In this case, we are going to find a two-way sound. So we find a buffer and a planar tweeter. So it's a 10.5mm driver for the bass, which is not that big compared to others, but it still has very good ability to project the bass frequencies with very good definition. It's not a coarse bass that you don't get to enjoy, but it's a really well-defined bass. The mid-frequencies do not overemphasize, so they do not bother, and the treble is also very clear. The planar tweeter is 6.1mm, and as I say, the overall sound is very good. The fact that it is divided into two ways makes you also have a higher level of clarity. In this case, Samsung does not share the frequency range that these headphones give us in the sound, but still I tell you the sound is very good. In fact, not only are we going to find two-way sound because it is divided buffer and planar tweeter, but it also incorporates two completely separate amplifiers, so that each amplifier has its own way. And that also together causes the sound to be so clear and of such high quality. With the default setting, the headphones sound great, but if you want, also through the app you can access an equalizer to modify the sound style. You can have a balanced setting, optimize bass, soft, dynamic, clear, optimize treble, or custom to modify any of the 9 bands you have available. So the sound experience is very good. In this sense, there is not a single complaint. If you have a compatible Galaxy, we will also find audio options to recognize how you turn your head. Although personally this kind of thing I don't usually use them, but if you do use them, they are available there. Also through the application, there is another section that will help you to have a kind of test, to play different sounds, and that the audio is completely adjusted to your ear. So far so good. The first complaint I'm going to have regarding the sound is that it doesn't support high-resolution non-Samsung audio. That is, if you want to enjoy high-resolution audio, you must have a Galaxy. And if you have a latest generation Galaxy, you will be able to support even more resolution. However, it has SBC and AAC as its global codecs compatible with non-Galaxy devices. That is to say, if you are one of the most demanding people who want to play music in very high resolution, but you don't have a Galaxy, it won't support that level of resolution. Even so, I think the sound is still very good, but for the most demanding users, this would be a point to criticize. It supports Samsung's SSC codec with its UHQ variant to deliver 24-bit audio at 96 kHz. That would be a very high-resolution audio that even it is going to be difficult to find so many audios or so many music libraries compatible with this level of audio, so that gives you an idea of the very high level that they have in their reproduction. So in that aspect, it's very good. They also have good noise cancellation, they have the ambient mode, and they also have some detection of other noises to disable the noise cancellation in case of an emergency. For example, if a siren is sounding, or also if it detects some voices talking to you, or even some alarm-like sounds. However, it takes a while to respond. It is not a change that is done very fast. So generally, this feature, I would not recommend it as a very attractive point that you have to consider to buy them. However, the sound quality can be an attractive point. Tarin, these headphones have 3 microphones each, so in total we have 6 microphones to have a good noise cancellation. Not only when listening to music, but also when making calls using the microphone. Also, thanks to this new design, the microphone will point a little bit more towards your mouth, unlike past generations. So there is a small benefit here as well. But how about listening to a test recorded with these headphones in a noisy environment? First, I'd like you to hear what the ambient noise is.
Bueno, esta es una grabación hecha con los micrófonos integrados en estos Galaxy Buds3 Pro.
Interestingly, in this case, noise cancellation was not enabled because I used the voice recorder, something that I actually find positive. But I find it curious because all the headphones I have tried when I do the recording enable noise cancellation. So now I will have to try with some call to notice if it does this noise cancellation or not. So, again, I just put an ambient noise and I'm going to make a call and you're going to hear the audio of this call.
Hola, ¿qué tal? ¿Me escuchas?
¿Qué tal? Buenas tardes, te escucho muy bien.
Ok, estoy haciendo una prueba de estos audífonos para saber si cancelan bien el ruido. Estoy en un entorno muy ruidoso. ¿Logras escucharme bien?
Te logro escuchar muy bien. Cuando dejas de hablar, no suena absolutamente nada de ruido. Cuando hablas, suena tu voz y un poquito de ruido, pero no tan fuerte.
Ok, muchas gracias.
Hasta luego.
How you could tell? The headphones actually have very good noise cancellation for calls, so they perform very well. And if you want to make a recording that has nothing to do with calls, it will record with good quality without applying cancellation, something that could also be useful and attractive. Also, if you record video with a Galaxy, we're also going to find the option to use these headphones to record a USB-C audio linked to that video, so you're going to have a much more immersive experience when playing back that content that you've recorded. And obviously it's recorded without noise cancellation as well. Let's go ahead and talk about the battery. Obviously, through the app, you can see the battery status of both the case and the headphones. Even if you have a Galaxy Watch, also from your watch, you could see the current battery status. So, the Samsung ecosystem doing its job here. Samsung promises 7 hours of playback without noise cancellation, which extends to 30 hours when you use the case. You know, these figures can vary greatly depending on your music style and the volume you use. Generally, these tests are done at 50% volume. In fact, I forgot to mention that they have good volume, so you don't need to have the volume that high. With noise cancellation, they promise 6 hours of playback that extends to 26 hours using the charging case. In this case, the manufacturer does not offer any exact figures as to how long it takes to charge the headphones. But I personally find that the headphones really don't need to be waiting for them to fully charge. In fact, if you plug them in for a little while every 2 or 3 days, you will never run out of battery. So I don't normally put so much emphasis on that aspect. Let's talk about connectivity. In this case, an excellent news is that they have Microsoft Swift Pair. So if you have a Windows computer, just open the case near this computer and they will be automatically detected. If your hearing aids are already paired to another device, just press and hold the button below to make them visible. And as I say, the alert will immediately appear. However, in this case, we will not find Google Fast Pair because they are hearing aids that are part of the Galaxy ecosystem. So if you have an Android phone that is not Galaxy, you will not have this easy connection window, although you can link them to your device without problem. But through the manual process, the Bluetooth settings, the list of visible devices, and then start the pairing. They have Bluetooth 5.4 with very good stability and very good range. And it also has the ability to be connected to 2 devices at the same time. Although again, this is restricted to Galaxy devices. If you don't have Galaxy devices, it can only be connected to 1. Next, let's test how the latency times are. You should know that with Galaxy devices that support the SSC codec, we will be able to enjoy the lowest possible latency. With other Android devices or even with iPhone, the latency time could vary much more. But let's test with the Galaxy Z Fold 6, which is a top-of-the-line device, and the Galaxy M15, which is a much simpler device. Yeah, man, like all accounts, if you have a high-end Galaxy, yes, you could get to have a low latency mode. Obviously still not at the same level of what you might find in wired headphones, but it does improve significantly. On Galaxy phones that aren't as high-end, maybe the experience doesn't change as much with or without the game mode, but the effort is appreciated. Finally, let me tell you that these Samsung headphones are also advertised with Galaxy AI, although by themselves they do not have some artificial intelligence capability, but will depend on the cell phone, since they have the interpreter mode. When you use the interpreter on your Galaxy connected to the Galaxy Buds, you are going to notice that instead of a traditional microphone button appearing, a Galaxy Buds button appears. So the device will intelligently be able to switch audio to the bots and audio to the speaker. What you pronounce in your own language will be played through the cell phone speaker so that the other person in another language can hear it. And whatever the other person pronounces, the device will translate it and play it directly to the bots. So it is a very good experience that works without the need of an internet connection as long as you have previously downloaded the language packs. This should be noted because if you are traveling and want to take advantage of this feature, it will not be consuming any of your mobile data plan. And it's a feature that is obviously going to be attractive. It is not 100% perfect. There will be things that it may not translate very well, but I think it is a good tool to communicate in other languages.
Where can I find the restroom?
¿Dónde puedo encontrar el baño?
El baño se encuentra al fondo a la derecha.
The bathroom is on the back right.
Oh, thank you.
Eso o gracias.
Con gusto.
I'm glad.
This tool can also prove to be an attractive point or a buying factor for hearing aids, but in conjunction with a Galaxy cell phone. It can't do it by itself. For the moment, we have reached the end of this video review. I find them very good headphones. They have very good features, very good sound. It's a pity that they don't fit me correctly and are falling out all the time. That's why I'm not using them. But if they fit me well, they would be the headphones I would use on a daily basis. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, you know you can tell us about it. See you next time.